It's time to spill the tea.
Hello!
You there, and welcome to
A
Spoonful of Theatre.
And this is another one of our Spill the Tea theatre review episodes, where we review a piece of local Singapore theatre right outside the theatre foyer. I'm TJ, theatre practitioner and director.
And I'm Sam, a teacher of language, literature, and self-proclaimed show business lover. And TJ, what have we just seen here outside Wild Rice Ngee and Kongsi Theatre?
We have just watched Girls, Girls, Girls. Yes, the brand new play by Wild Rice. And I had a great time in the theatre. I've had a really good night. So, Sam, what did you think?
Well, first thing, love, happy Pride Month.
Indeed.
Happy Pride Month, and happy Pride Month to our viewers as well. And so this play is very, very timely for that respect, because tonight we have seen and heard the stories of queer women in Singapore. And that's lesbian women, bisexual women, queer identifying women, and we've had those stories told on stage. And it's, if I remember rightly, it's a certain type of theatre. Is that not right?
It is, absolutely. It's called Verbatim theatre. So basically, as a writer, you would do lots and lots of interviews, find lots of stories, and basically use the words of the people that you interview and put that on stage.
Right.
So the play is authored and put together and written with Alfian and Dion, who is the director. So they kind of take all those interviews and put it on stage and tell the stories in character. So it's a really specific type of theatre. For me, verbatim theatre, I've always had a love-hate relationship with it.
Right.
Because naturally, when you're interviewing people, it has to be their words. So like if you're kind of talking to one person, it ends up being a monologue. So I feel like as a style of theatre, sometimes because it's a lot of monologues or duologues and that sort of thing, it can sometimes be hit or miss for me. I am sometimes really engaged, and I find them a bit draggy sometimes.
Right.
So I've seen verbatim theatre lots over my time. I must say this is one of the best examples of it that I've seen. I really loved how the stories not just utilized the characters that were in them, but like they utilized the ensemble to kind of like help tell the story throughout. And I think, if I'm honest, with the story, it did take me a bit of time to get into the style. Again, but that's my previous experience with verbatim theatre. So I think it took me about 20 minutes to really kind of buy into it in terms of the layout of the play. But once I kind of bought into that verbatim theatre, I was gripped with the story, and it really kind of put those true stories on stage. And I really did enjoy how it was pieced together, both from a writing perspective, but also a direction and performance perspective. What about you?
It's funny you saying pieced together, because it made me think of Love Actually.
Okay.
Where different stories are being told in different ways at different times, and occasionally it comes together, and some of the people come together. And I really, really liked that. What I could really tell, and this is because this theatre is designed that way, of that intimacy, is that this play was designed to tell those stories in an empowering way. It was the women on that stage were saying, I'm going to tell this story so that you, the audience, relate to it.
Yeah.
And there was, from the very beginning, there was, yes, I can identify, I can relate to that story. And there was, let's face it, there were a lot of lesbian women and queer identifying women in the audience tonight. So there was a lot of, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, you are talking about my life, my story. Even me, there was a couple of stories up there that I relate to that. Yeah. In particular, Nora and Susie, who are the retirees, watching their relationship, it made me think of me and my partner, and how we interact with each other, and how we take the mickey out of each other in good fun and love. And I really, really appreciated that. And there was a couple of other stories that talked about my youth as well. And I thought, I relate to that. And so for me, the play tonight had a lot of heart, and boy, did it have a lot of community. Capital letters, underlined, bold, and italics. It was community.
For me, what you're saying about relating to it, because I am not a lesbian woman. Okay, just spoiler. I don't know. However,
Does that mean I am?
However, it's one of those that it in the queer community, but I am part of the queer community I identify. It's similar because I think there's often within the queer community, it's like, and this was kind of spoken about a lot through the play, and at one point did kind of get on my nerves a little bit, if I'm honest, because there was a lot of going back to gay men do this, lesbian women do this, which we are closely aligned. But I think also part of it is that lesbian culture is its own unique identity, and so is gay culture. So there was a lot of comparisons. But I think that's because we're all in the LGBTQ bracket. But this is a whole nother debate that I'm not going to go into too much. But for me, I didn't need to relate exactly to what they were saying to feel the emotions and the at times, the othering or the sense of being part of a different community. That is just amazing to see. And the line that stuck with me and gave me a little tear, honestly, was that simple queer joy is being heard.
Yes.
And that is ultimately what Wild Rice are bold enough to present.
Yes.
And is really important for audiences to experience and hear, especially in Singapore.
I quite agree. Yes, there were a lot of jibes at certain groups tonight. Men, there was a lot of jibes against straight men, against gay men, against the patriarchy. And fair enough, do it. It's completely fair. There were jibes at the government and the Singaporean experience at large, which I can't really comment on, but that was the whole point of tonight. It was saying boldly and proudly, this is our experience.
Yeah.
Where I will give a little bit of a note, and this isn't directed at this play directly, it's more at queer culture right now in general, and that's, I would have liked a little bit more stories before the 1990s. It talked about the 1990s and the 2000s and the 2010s and right now, but queer history and queer culture did not start then. It goes right back to the 60s, and it goes even further back than that. Now, of course, as you say, this is verbatim theatre, so did the interviewers, could they find, or were they able to interview older lesbians talking about their experiences, the Merdeka generation, were they available? Possibly not. But I would have liked a little bit more history there. But that's my personal preference, my personal opinion. Also, I do think the stories were, there were happy endings. I would have liked a little bit more tragedy, though. Because unfortunately, ours is not bright and rosy history and stories all the time. There is a lot of tragedy and darkness in the history of queer culture, and I would have liked a little bit more of that, just to make it a little bit more whole in that respect. Did you see where I'm going?
The whole point of verbatim theatre, though, is that whoever, the stories you hear and the stories people tell. And I do think, I go back, I can't remember the exact documentary off the top of my head, but there was a documentary about the trans community on Netflix a couple of years ago, shining a positive light on trans community, showing that in mainstream media, the trans are always a vilified character. And same in all queer culture, actually. The gays are always a certain type, and lesbians are always a certain type. So I think what the aim of this is wider than that, is to present positive queer stories as well, and positive lesbian stories. So I think I completely see, though, from a dramatic perspective, it's nice to have a bit of that balance as well. But I didn't feel like that lacked for myself.
Okay.
But great. Shall we get into the performances?
Yes. There were two that stood out for me. One of them was Ikai.
Yeah.
She really gave it her all, and there was laughter, there was also authenticity, there was real projection into the stories that she was telling, and I really, really loved the stories that she was telling. Also, Farah. Farah, you made me cry, love. My goodness, the story of Zarina. You told that story so well. And, Yes, there were two standout performances for me tonight, but all of them, Rayshan, Farah, Eve, Mare, and Ikai, you all did a fantastic job tonight. What about you, TJ?
Just solid performances all round. Like, at no point was I drawn out of the performance because of a performance. Each of the characters, because they jumped into so many different characters, layered, detailed, beautiful work. That and especially in the Ngee and Kongsi theatre, it's so personal that you can tell when somebody's not feeling it, and you can tell when somebody's not expressing it. And I think what was really clear at the end, for me, is actors telling a story they found important to them.
Yes.
And you know what? It's even like, as I'm saying it, I'm kind of like, that's even making me a little bit emotional, because it's so important as actors to find something that you believe in telling.
Yes.
And I could tell that the entire team really wanted to tell this story, and that came through in abundance on that stage.
Yes.
So well done to all of you.
I'm just going to put the cherry on the top of that as well. There was so much love and support between the company as well.
Yeah.
Like, when the girls were sat there listening to whoever was telling that story, you could see and you could feel they were rooting that performance. So the company were absolutely marvelous, and a fully female production team as well. And Ivan just mentioned that, that's a rarity. It's one of the first full female production teams.
Yeah.
So well done.
Yeah.
Well done indeed.
I really want to give a shout out to Dion as well, because it's her directing debut here at Wild Rice. We've seen her on this stage many times, being absolutely phenomenal as an actress. But the way that Dion put these stories together and used the space and the pacing of it was beautiful. And there's a lot of detail that goes into making it look simple. Because I think it came across as a simple staging, but it was really detailed. Because she gave space for people to tell the story.
Yes.
It wasn't distracting,
No.
but it was exciting enough,
Yes.
And I really, going into the set design, really loved the set design. It was, again, really simple, but told the story, gave some nice personality through that, matched with the lighting design and the sound design.
Yes.
All came together to really kind of tell this beautiful story.
Yes, the multimedia aspect of it as well really complemented the stories that were being told. They also gave nice little breaks in between the stories that allowed the cast to breathe, that allowed the audience to breathe for those moments. So yeah, all round a really, really good production.
Yeah, and also just that with a show like this as well, it's really hard because you're constantly going in and out of character. And I really loved that the costumes were obviously that you have to design them in a way that you can get in and out of them very quickly.
Yes.
But yet we need to know that every time that person's on stage, that's that character.
Yes.
And I thought the costume design was really, really well done as well.
Yes, with a lot of hair.
Yes.
A lot of hair, a
Yes.
lot of wigs. And if anybody's ever done a wig change, that's not easy to do very quickly. So well done, girls.
Yeah.
Now then, ladies and gentlemen, as you know by now, when TJ and I go and see a piece of local theatre, we always give a rating out of 5 spoonfuls. But we never reveal how many spoonfuls we are going to give until that moment has come, and that moment is now. So TJ, on Wild Rice's Girls, 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 on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, 5. Oh, yes!
Perfect 10.
Perfect
10s
10.
across the board.
So why a 5 for you?
Amazing night in the theatre. Like I said, one of my favourite pieces of verbatim theatre that I've ever seen. It's not a style I usually like, and it's still not my favourite style, but I thought it was a particularly good version of that. And I think the thing that really just stood out to me was the honesty and authenticity of the production tonight. And whether you are in the LGBTQ plus community or you are an ally, it is an important story to tell, because these stories do not get told regularly in the Singapore context, and they need to be heard and need to be listened to. And come and challenge yourself. If this isn't something you naturally come to watch, come and challenge yourself. Support local theatre, support different storytelling, and educate yourself. I learned quite a lot tonight. There was a lot of things about lesbian culture I had no idea.
I quite agree.
And I've definitely learned a lot tonight. What about you? Your 5?
Exactly the same reasons. They were very, very authentic stories told on the stage tonight. Beautifully performed, beautifully staged, and as I said at the beginning, very timely, very, very timely. And it did something that Wild Rice does best, is that it does challenge. It challenges local ideas, local attitudes, global attitudes to certain communities, and it did so beautifully on that stage tonight.
Now then, if you want to catch this 10 out of 10 production here at the Neon Kongsi Theatre, you can buy your tickets for Girls, Girls, Girls on SISTIC, and it is playing until the 27th of June.
Right, my tea's gone cold, love. Shall we leave it there?
Let's.
So that's cheerio from us. We'll be back soon.
And a hurrah from me.
And to the cast and crew of Wild Rice's Girls, Girls, Girls.
And to anybody else performing in Singapore Theatre,
Break a leg. Why a 10 for you?
A 5.
Oh, sorry, yes. Do you want me to do that again?
Just. No, it's fine. Oh, well, now we have to.